Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of TCG Talk, back today with another video. In today's video, I want to go over some Katsu list to talk about like how is the list going to shape up, what are my thoughts on the list personally, and some of the cards I think could creep their way back into the hero as the format unfolds, and just kind of talk about, you know, what this means for Katsu in general. So if anyone's not aware, Bonds of Ancestry was banned both in yellow and blue, so Katsus are going to have to be a little bit more creative, back how they used to be, which I'm super excited about. We're going to talk about it. But if you're new to the channel, welcome. Thank you so much for stopping by. Hopefully you enjoy your stay. If you're a long-standing supporter, thank you so much as always. Feel free to check out that Discord down below. We're at 590 members, almost 600. It'd be really cool to have 600 members in the Discord. A lot of talks going on, obviously, right now with Ninja. Really fun place to be, really positive, so kind of wanted to throw that out there. But for Katsu specifically, we can be doom and gloom about this, right? People can say Katsu's in the tank, you know, with Bonds of Ancestry being gone, it really hurts the hero, and it does, right? There's no way around it, right? Bonds was an extremely powerful piece that brought Katsu up to the power level that Fab had gotten to, right? Before Bonds of Ancestry, back in the Welcome to Wraith days, Katsu was very powerful in more of a controlling mindset, and it played for big key combo turns. As the game went on, heroes got even more fridges, right, in their armor suites, more efficient blocking, more efficient numbers. It was hard for Katsu to keep up. And then Outsiders came out and Bonds of Ancestry came out, and it really helped Katsu kind of springboard up to that level, so to speak. So hopefully there is an expansion slot coming specifically for Katsu according to the banned and restricted announcement in the last paragraph. So I'm super excited about that. But regardless, we're going to talk about some cards that me personally as a Katsu enjoyer, right? Some of these discussion points are going to be more competitive, right? And then some of them are just going to be stuff I enjoy, and I want you to try to approach it with like a dual-hatted mindset. Like, yes, how do we make the deck the most competitive it can be, but let's have some fun with the cards as well. So I'm gonna bring up this right here. Let me pull this up for you right here. We have two decks I want to talk about. We have the typical post Bonds ban Katsu list, and then I also have an even bigger than that list that I think also has some discussion as well. So before we get into the ins and outs of both of these lists, I won't go card by card, but we'll talk about general concepts. I want to talk about a few cards that are going to creep their way back into Katsu, in my opinion. The first one, and the most obvious one, which I am so happy about, sorry, personal bias here, Mask Momentum. In my opinion, without the addition of Blue Bonds of Ancestry, now your reasoning of running a lot of Descendant Gust Waves has gone down. Most lists, I think, are going to be running anywhere from 3 to 4 Descendant Gust Waves if you still run the Bonds package in your list. And because of that, right, you're not running like 3 yellow Descendants. And it's a lot harder to get off this like really big combo turn with the Pouncing Links package. So I think Mask Momentum is by far the best headpiece now for Katsu, the most consistent piece. It's going to play into what Katsu is wanting to do. Now, whether that makes Katsu more or less competitively viable, probably a little bit less, right? Links is very good. I think in certain aggro metas, though, Mask Momentum is extremely underrated. Decks right now don't want to block, and Mask Momentum tells you have to block, right? I think there's a lot of people underestimating how powerful this card still is because of how good Bonds was. But that's the biggest thing. I think Mask Momentum is the main board headpiece, not close for Katsu. I don't see a reason to run Pouncing Links unless you're really going for a crazy combo turn. The next one that kind of goes in the list, and this one never really fully went away. It just, some people are running like heavy Bonds, and Lightning Strike is very powerful now. You want that flexibility in Katsu. It's going to stay the same. I think Double Strike gets its way back in the lists a lot more consistently now. Some Katsus are running it already pretty consistently, but I think it's either going to be main boarded from a 1 to a 3 of, because it's an easy, quick way to get that Katsu trigger online, which is what you want to do, right? When it comes to this list specifically, I don't think I have anything else. I think, Meginshi Release definitely comes back in. I think even if in just a sideboard, it's now, again, arguably the most powerful line that Katsu has. When you're talking about even bigger than that, and we'll get into the list here in a second, I think even bigger than that builds are definitely more viable now. Way back in late 2022, early 2023, you saw these builds that were doing well. We had a 2 I forgot the exact Singapore event, but there was a Battle Harden, I think. It might have been a Calling. Is it Battle Harden or Calling Singapore? I think it was Battle Harden, where there was 2 top 8s, 2 Katsus in the top 8. Both were on even bigger than that builds. We saw several Calling and Battle Harden winners, not winners, sorry, top 8ers on even bigger than that builds, and that was really what kind of put Katsu a little bit more up before the outsider buffs, right? So being able to run that even bigger than that with no Art of War, I'm doing this purposefully, and running Razor Reflex and really just playing off of that card draw from even bigger than that. Cards like Take the Tempo, which were used in a couple top 8 lists, I think is really cool. So we'll kind of talk about that. The final thing I think that comes back in the list a little bit, maybe not super, depends on how you play, is the leg tap line. I think the leg tap line is extremely efficient. I think with the freed up slots that you have, because it basically with this change, in most lists, it's going to free up anywhere from 5 to 8 slots. It frees up the 3 yellow bonds. It frees up the 1 blue bonds you had in the sideboard, maybe even the one in the main board. It frees up anywhere from 2 to 3 Descendant Gust Waves at 7. It frees that up. So it frees up a lot of space. So when it comes to the post bonds list, it's pretty simple. We're still running Breeze Rider Boots. We changed the Mask Momentum. The equipment suite's the same. What we did is we got rid of the 3 yellow bonds and the 2 yellow Descendant Gust Waves, and I added in 3 red double strikes. That's the only color comes in. 3 double strikes and 300 wins. And what I'm trying to do with this list, again, this isn't a full deck tech. This is just conceptualizations, and then you make your choices based off that. But what I'm trying to do is use Ancestral Harmony with a lot of combo cards. As you can see, we still have 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 22, 25, 28 combo cards still in the list. I mean, with the blues, we have over 30 easily, right? So Ancestral Harmony is still decently consistent there. And we're basically trying to, use that in conjunction with Art of War and the consistency of the surging line in general to have very highly efficient, multiple card turns. So nothing too much changes with this. It's basically the addition of Double Strike, in my opinion, again, to get that Katsu trigger off, and the addition of yellow 100 wins in order to have some Ancestral Harmony synergy. I think that that's more than viable. And the good thing about this list, I think, is you could still run the Pouncing Link's Tenacity package in the sideboard if you want to, for against like Victor, who's pretty prevalent right now. And obviously, if other decks start to creep into the format that now block a little bit better, you could have this. But this is also flexible. You don't have to have these in. I also have Zephyr Needle on the sideboards. As long as Zen is still going to be a top deck in the format, and I still think with these changes, Zen still probably is the best deck in the format. Or I don't think it changes his overall position. That's my knee-jerk opinion. Zephyr Needles might actually be pretty good to force him to block a little bit more, but we'll have to see. It's still up to be seen. When it comes to this build, this is a build I'm super excited to try just for fun. It might end up being something. We ended up going off of Breeze Rider Boots and going back to Snapdragon Scalers. And then we're running a package of even bigger than that, and then cards that synergize well with even bigger than that. So if somebody doesn't remember what this card does, it says play even bigger than that only if you have dealt physical damage this turn. Opt 3, then reveal the top card of your deck. If it has a attack base greater than the amount of damage you have dealt this turn, create a Quicken token and draw a card. So basically the play pattern is you pitch a blue, you swing with your Kodachi, deals a point of damage, swing with your second Kodachi is normally what I do, and then if they say no blocks again, in the reaction step, you will play even bigger than that. Look for a card that's more than 1 damage, which is because since the second Kodachi hasn't hit yet, and then you look for a card, hopefully, like Enlightened Strike or Fluster Fist or Snatch is a big one, and in this case, Take the Tempo, and you're hoping to basically be able to play these cards with Go Again from the Quicken token, right? If you draw into an Enlightened Strike, then you can choose Enlightened Strike, draw a card, Go Again, threatening your Mask Momentum trigger, which is really, really powerful. You also can play cards that don't inherently have Go Again, like Fluster Fist and Whelming Gust Wave, in order to give them Go Again, and then go into the in the case of Whelming, go into the second half of the line. All types of stuff like that. And then also you can use things like Snatch, which is super threatening. Being able to play Snatch for 4 Go Again on hit, draw 2 cards if they haven't blocked either one of these Kodachis. It's also really nice if you play the first Kodachi, they let it hit. You play the second Kodachi, they block it, and then you play even bigger than that, and you draw into a Snatch, and then you say, okay, You just blocked me to try to stop my Mask of Momentum trigger. Now I'm going to play a Snatch and threaten a draw anyway, right? So that's really good. Razor Reflex to help some of these cards hit on that Mask trigger, and so on and so forth. And if you notice, we're still running the same amount of starters. Most pre-bonds lists were running around 19 starters. This list in particular is running 3, I count Lightning Strike as a starter, 3, 6, 7, 10, 13, 16, 19 starters total. So you're still around the same consistency line with starters. But yeah, this gives you a little bit cooler diversity. Is this like the best way to build Katsu? Maybe, maybe not. I'm not sure. But I wanted to give you 2 different fun ways that I think the hero can be played. I still think Zen is better, right? I don't think anyone's going to argue that. And this video isn't to try to say, like, why is Katsu, like, competitively still up there? I think Katsu is just a solid aggro deck. Do I think KO and Zen are better aggro decks and maybe like a hard boost dash? Sure, maybe. But I think Katsu's playable. Like if I sat against a Katsu and a Battle Hardener Calling right now, I might be like, oh, why'd you pick Katsu over Zen? Like just in general. But I'm not going to be like, oh, wow, this is a free win, right? Like that's not the case with Katsu at all. But definitely take a look at both of these lists. I think they're both very competitively viable. Both definitely work just fine. Me personally, and this is going to be a little soapbox for a second, is like, I am actually really happy about the Bonds ban. Bonds of Ancestry, to me, limited the design space for Ninja, and it was bad for the class. It took all of the fun out of Ninja to me. The fun of Ninja was the finesse, trying to trick your opponent through, unique sequencing and feints and different combo lines, and really just give your opponent different looks all the time and really like make them second guess themselves all the time. And yes, do highly competitive and good players know how to block Katsu a little bit better? Yes, but I've also played players who have top 8 callings that still block him properly at times because that's what Katsu makes you do. Cards that threaten mass triggers with Mask Momentum combined with different varying attack powers can really throw you off in your decision making. So when Bonds of Ancestry came out, it really took that away. It just made Katsu a Kano deck, right? It really did. It made Katsu play like Kano, and I don't like that. So I'm kind of glad. This always should have been a Majestic in general, in my opinion, and I'm glad that it's now able to just be played at red. It's a very good package you can put in to add even a little bit more consistency with the surging line, and it doesn't break the core tenets of the deck and make you like have to play into it with nothing else. So definitely check both these lists out. I encourage you to try them. They may not be the best aggro deck in the format, but I think there's some cool, fun ways to play Katsu with this. I think it's really interesting. But yeah, thank you all so much for tuning into this. Stay positive with this stuff. Have some fun with it. Try to approach the game from both a competitive and a fun mindset. And just have fun with it, right? Like look at this, and even this deck with Katsu without Command and Conquers in the list, like it's cheaper, right? You can even take out Art of Wars and make it even cheaper. Like Katsu can now be built semi-budget and still be competitive, which is really, really nice. But yeah, thank you all so much. Hopefully y'all have a great rest of your week. Stay safe. Let me know what else you want to see. I'll be doing more Katsu content now. Honestly, this like makes me want to do more Katsu content because it just wasn't, there was no point in making content on Katsu because it was kind of like a solved deck in a way. It felt kind of bad, but yeah, super excited to do some different stuff. Thank you all so much for tuning in. If you like this type of content, please leave a like, comment, subscribe. If not me, it's totally fine. Go to another creator, leave a like, comment, subscribe on their stuff so we can get more people seeing this game. And I'll see y'all next time on TCG Talk. Thank y'all so much.